Looks like he's half interested. Look at this. Look at this. Alright, all yours. Go, go, go. Sweet, that'll keep him happy for about 2 seconds, I think. Now, I'll introduce you to this crocodile. He's a fantastic animal, actually. I've been working with him for a long time. The best way to describe him, actually, would be a semi-aquatic ambush predator. So, in the water and at the water's edge is where they're deadly. That's where the majority of their hunting comes from. They have excellent senses. Eyes, ears and nose are good for the aerial environment, like us. And he can do this thing that we call the minimum exposure posture, where he only exposes about 2% of his whole body mass. The only thing that sticks out of the water, eyes, ears and nose. Alright, and that's not giving away the rest of his 4 metres that he's hiding behind him. Aids him in detecting prey. He has also got pressure receptors all over his body, particularly his upper lower jaw actually. So when he's fully submerged in the murky water, he can't see or smell, but he would pick up on this sort of stuff. The splashings, vibrations. Doing this, it's like ringing the dinner bell. And I'm sure he's honing in already. When he feels like he's in strike range, that's when they explode out of the water with speed and power to try to secure their prey. So we can get him to come up a little bit. Can I come out here? Can I come out? No. If he had a hold of me, he cannot swallow me whole. So he's got to break parts off me. What are you doing there, boy? He's got to break parts off me, alright? And he cannot chew his food like we do. He's very good at the crushing, but moving the jaw side to side like we do, he can't do it. So what he typically tends to do is rolling, the death rolling, to break his food apart, or the head shaking. Sort of when he grabbed that rope then, see how he sort of flicked his head around a bit? That's what they'll do. And the death rolling and stuff like this, it's quite impressive to see firsthand. Are you guys interested in seeing something like that? Yeah. Of course you are. So it's pretty dangerous, so I might get Brody to do it. What do you reckon? Now guys, people get very concerned about Brody jumping into a crocodile enclosure because it looks like he's 12. But he's actually 18 and he has signed the appropriate paperwork. I'm just going to leave you to deal with this situation, Brody. Hell, mate, do something. What are you going to do, mate? Alright, I'll tap the glass, see what happens. Oi. No, he's not looking. I'll tell you what, bro, you feel like being a ninja? I'm going to close his eyes and you flip over that back fence. Please don't die. Alright. I'm just going to shut his eyes with the stick. I can just wiggle a bit. Shuts his eyes. This might give Brody a chance. The ninja behind him. Come on, mate, before he goes extinct. Alright, very good. See if you can get him lure back around. Let's go. Alright. There we go. One very slow roll. Let's see if we can do it a bit quicker. That wasn't too bad. One more. See if we can get one more. Oh my god. Alrighty. Geez, you guys are lucky today. You just observed the slowest rolling crocodile in the world. Put your hand a bit closer, Brody. Alright, all yours, Harry. There's a family camping right next to the water's edge, which is not recommended up here. We always say if you want to go camping, 50 to 100 metres back from the water. When I go camping, I sleep in the back of my truck. I feel a little bit safer, you know. And this family wasn't doing that. They're right next to the water, and in the middle of the night, a big croc, bigger than Hagrid here, walked into the campsite, picked this old lady up off the ground and started walking back towards the river. Luckily for this lady, she wasn't alone. Someone else was there, and this guy saw the situation, and without thinking, he just tackled this big 4.5 metre croc, jammed it in the eyes, and it worked. Spat the lady out. This guy was no doubt a hero. You can never take that away from him. Very brave. But when we looked into the story, as we do, when it comes to croc attack stories, we investigate them a lot because we educate people about them. And we soon discovered two things that are a little bit off with this story. First of all, this guy was an Aussie. Gets a little bit sus from there on out, you know. Second of all, this Aussie just successfully saved his mother-in-law. We talked about it, we said that's quite un-Australian if you ask me. That's a perfect opportunity wasted, isn't it? But anyway, it worked, he's a hero, whatever. So when it comes to running away from him, you know what we do? We take off flat out. Opposite direction, push everyone else out of the road. And to be honest, that's naturally what you want to do anyway. That's naturally what you want to do. Try not to fall over when you're running away from them. That can result poorly. Try not to climb a tree either, unless you are desperate, unless there's no other options. The reason why I say don't climb trees is crocodiles are extremely patient. And this guy can go without food for not just a few hours or a few days. We're talking 6 months, 12 months, no problem. Alright, and I've heard a few stories for like a week or more. Croc sitting under the tree waiting. You've got to be careful there. You might hear suggestions when it comes to running away from crocs. You run in zigzags or circles. Who's heard of these ones? Yep. Zigzags. Look, whoever came up with these strategies, I strongly suspect they've never been chased. Zigzags, all it's going to do is slow you down and make an easier target for them to get you. And circles, who thought of that one? Where does a circle end up? Back where you started, you're probably going to die. So just no strategies, run the opposite direction as quick as you can. Luckily for us, we're quite good on land, and you'd be surprised how much extra enthusiasm you'll have behind you when there's a croc chasing you. This animal, this is his domain, this is where he's at his best. When he comes on land, he's not a cheater. He will do a short burst of speed and probably max out around 8 to 10 kilometres an hour. So we can outrun that, no problems. By the time he's done a 5-10 metre charge at you, he'll probably give up and resort back to the water. By the time he's done that distance, you would have done about 2 kilometres. Alright, so we can outrun him. No strategies, opposite direction. A lot of these fishermen, some of them are a little bit arrogant and they tell you to go away. And that's alright, you just hang around, make sure you're filming it, because if he gets nailed, that's what we call natural selection around here. Alright, that's about a foot deep of water. I had another fisherman tell me he believed a big crocodile cannot sneak up on you in shallow water. And how wrong that is. Hey, he's got my stick out. A bit closer than I thought. Hagrid. You feel better now, mate? It's full on, isn't it? So you can see how dangerous they are. Look, he wants to eat me, don't you? Are you all G'd up now, are you? What a psycho. When it comes to the attacks here in Australia, luckily enough for us, even though we got the highest densities of saltwater crocs in the world, attacks are at an all-time low. Alright? Luckily for us, most people that come to the northern parts of Australia, the tourists that come visit or the locals that live here, they adopt that little thing called common sense. And that goes a long way with living with these predatory animals safely. And normally when the attacks do happen, he's just eyeing me off this croc. Normally there's human contributing factors involved. Alright, so people are taking unnecessary risks in crocodile country. And we've looked into this. Turns out, the majority of the people that get grabbed by crocs, they're in the water with them. They're not only in the water with them, they're doing it in the dark, at night time. Guess what else is involved? Alcohol is a huge contributing factor. So if you don't want to be attacked by something like that, try not to swim with them in the dark when you're drunk. It might help you out a little bit. And you might be thinking to yourselves, who would do that? Because that's crazy, right? And you always speak to the Aussie locals up here, and they always assure you how crocs love to eat tourists, particularly the Germans. That's why they put the Achtung sign on the boards. I don't know why they singled the Germans out, but why not, I suppose. There was only one German lady killed by a crocodile here in Australia. We're talking 15 years ago now. And she was on an organised tour in the Crocodile National Park. And she was told by the tour guide it was okay to go swimming somewhere at 10 o'clock at night in a billabong that was full of frogs. And this young lady, she lost her life. That's a shame, that one. And that tour guide got in big trouble. Crocodile National Park is renowned for crocodiles. People come from all over the globe to see them there in their natural habitat. So that is a shame, that one. Normally the people that take these sorts of risks, I have to admit, it's usually the Aussie locals. So being locals, they know there's crocs there, but they take the risk anyway. They would have to tell them the old Aussie attitude, she'll be right. What's the worst that could happen? She'll be right, take the risk anyway. And I'll tell you a quick story to put things in perspective. In 2014, there was a fatality in the Northern Territory, Adelaide River. If you guys are unfamiliar with this river system, it holds some of the highest densities of saltwater crocs in the world. We're talking 10 to 15 mature crocodiles per kilometre. And I was on this river system 2 days before this attack took place with one of the leading crocodile scientists. We were going out checking out crocs and having a bit of fun, and this scientist told me, very knowledgeable man, he told me if you decide to go swimming in a river system with densities as high as 10 to 15 mature crocodiles per kilometre, there is a 100% chance you're going to get attacked. 100%. That Aussie she'll be right attitude will not come into play there. She'll be dead, more like it. 2 days later, fisherman, him and his wife are up on the bank casting out their lures. I think they're doing most things right. They're up on the bank, flicking out their lines. The fatal mistake this guy made was his lure got entangled in some reeds, and he decided to wade into the Adelaide River to retrieve his $10, $20 lure. The right thing to do, cut your lure, cut your losses, keep your life. But this guy pushed it, got complacent, and when he went in, you guys know what happened. Croc lunged out, grabbed him, pulled him under. Happens really quick too. Croc attacks, and they happen quick. They just lunge out, pull you out under. The wife heard a bit of a scream. All she saw was the tip of the tail. This guy was gone out of this world forever. That is a shame. Real shame. It's also quite tragic for the animals involved too. Because when a croc eats someone, part of the practice is they go out and shoot it. Sometimes they shoot half a dozen or more big mature males before they find the culprit. And some of these big boys, they could be 50 years plus. They would have survived a lot, survived the hunting era here in Australia. And they've earned their place here, and because people get complacent and don't take responsibility for their actions, the animals cop it. And that is a bit of a shame. These things, they don't gather up on a pub on a Friday night and go, do you know what we should do? Attack some people. It's not what they do. What we're looking at is an opportunistic predator. And if you give it an opportunity, like wading into the Adelaide River, there's going to be one outcome, and it's not going to be good. And in this story, they located the animal rather quickly. I think he still had a bit of evidence in his mouth, which is always hard to explain. And they shot this crocodile, and it upset so many people. Because this crocodile was well known, some could say even liked. All the locals knew him. All the tourists that had been there before, they could recognise him from sight. He was massive, much bigger than this one. Very darkly pigmented, so his body was like jet black, but his head was standout white. And the locals nicknamed this crocodile Michael Jackson. And they shot old Michael for this, and that upset a lot of people. But something's obviously got to be done about the animal, whether or not it deserves a bullet. Yeah, you can decide on that one on your own accord, I suppose. It's coming. Oh, yeah, very nicely done. Quick Alright. Now guys, I don't want to fearmonger you too much about the crocs. We can safely coexist with them. Just modify your behaviour around the waterways and be very selective where you go swimming. Very selective where you go swimming. In the local area, guys, we're in croc country. Every estuary from here to Cairns or here to Port Douglas, there'll be a croc in there. Maybe not the densities like the Northern Territory or up in Cape York, but all it takes is one. Alright, so there's places you can safely swim, like Mossman Gorge, Crystal Cascades, Josephine Falls. Swimming pool is always a solid choice. If you decide to swim at the beach, be a bit careful, guys. It's tropical jellyfish season, they are dangerous. I would swim where the lifeguards are set up in the nets. No nighttime swimming, that's asking for trouble. And don't swim anywhere near the river mouths. And if you're still a little bit worried, swim in the middle of everyone else. Then you'll be right.